Hello and welcome to Cash in the Attic, the show that searches for treasures hidden around your home and then sells them for you at auction. Today I'm in Northamptonshire and I've stopped off at the rather magnificent Stoke Park Pavillions. Built in the 17th century, Stoke Park was designed by Inigo Jones, the man who introduced Italian Renaissance architecture to the UK. The original design consisted of a main house balanced by two pavilions, and these structures are all that survive. This was the first property in England to be built in the Palladian style. It was only 80 years after completion that Stoke Park won acclaim, so much so that it was used as the blueprint for all English 18th century country houses. Sadly, the main house was destroyed by fire, but the pavilions survive today. The last remnants of one of the most important houses in English architectural history. Well, let's hope that this isn't the only gem that we managed to discover today as we go in search of hidden treasures that can be put under the hammer at auction. Coming up on Cash in the Attic, a treasure trove of goodies. And Paul gets a bit carried away by one of his finds.
Could have been used at Trafalgar, who knows?
And another item inspires me to get into character. I've been working up to the part of the fat controller, as you can see. Paul still caught up in naval history at the auction.
Has it been at war? Could it have been used in the Napoleonic times?
But will our couple sail past their total as the final hammer falls? I've travelled down the road to the town of Towester and I'm on my way to meet a lady who's planning a trip of a lifetime, and she's called in the Cash in the Attic team to help. This three-bedroom property on the outskirts of Towester is home to interior designer Linda Riley. Linda's also a passionate photographer and mother to three sons, Paul, Simon and Scott. They're all grown up, and after sadly losing her husband Alan a few years ago, Linda is in need of help clearing through a mass of items passed down to him by his family. She's called in her good friend Gillian for moral support. And with 20 years of antiques experience, Paul Hayes is just the man to help. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Alan. How are you?
Feeling very short. How tall are you?
No, about 6'1".
You've got your heels on.
Yes, I have, yeah. 6 foot without the heels.
Are you looking forward to it?
So looking forward to it. Yeah, it's great to be down here, isn't it?
Yeah, very close to the racecourse. We ain't got time for it, unfortunately, today, but we have a lovely lady in there. She's hoping to go on a trip of a lifetime, and basically she's hoping with a busy day of rummaging and your expert knowledge,
of course,
that we'll be able to help fund that trip. Do you reckon we're up to it?
Right, yeah. Don't build me part of anymore. Let's get going.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Hi,
Good morning, Linda.
Alex.
How are you?
Hi.
Nice to see you.
And you.
Hi, Gillian.
Hi. Lovely to meet you.
You two have wicked glints in your eyes. This is going to be fun.
We hope so.
So why have you called in Cash in the Attic?
Because I've accumulated so many things with family members passing away and things that I've accumulated that it's time to move them on and do something nice.
Now, I know you stood next to her. Is she a bit of a hoarder?
No, I'm not.
She says she's not, but she is.
You don't mean a little bit at all, do you? She's a hoarder. So this stuff comes from friends and family, really?
Yes, yeah. A few things I've collected, but mostly it's been handed down, yeah.
And what's the plan? You're hoping to sell some of it? Why?
Because I want to go to Cuba.
Right. Just like that. Why Cuba?
Because I think it'd be a great place to go and see as it is now before it changes. And I like photography, so I want to do some really good shots with all the old Cadillacs and things, and do some margaritas with Hemingway's bar.
It sounds like a lovely plan. Are you going with her?
No, unfortunately not on this trip. We have been abroad before, and I'm sure we will again, but I can't make Cuba this time.
Well, as I say, it sounds lovely, but it sounds very expensive. So
Yes.
How much are you hoping to raise?
Well, if I got 1,000, that would be really nice.
It would be, wouldn't it?
It would.
How confident are you of getting that £1,000?
Oh, I don't know. Who knows? I don't
She's
know.
got some good bits in there, I'm sure.
You've had a look already, have you? Well, listen, if it's £1,000 you're after, we really need to get rummage. So shall we go and do it?
Yeah, sure.
Come on.
Let's go.
Well, if Linda is going to see Castro's Cuba before it crumbles, we need to get hunting for things to sell. An initial scout round shows that Gillian's right. This house isn't short of antiques. It hasn't taken our Paul Hayes long to find something of value.
Dear Dear me.
Can't be half time already, can it?
It works, doesn't it?
It does.
How's that? Look, fantastic little whistle, actually. Where's that come from?
I think it must have come from great-great-grandparents somewhere along the line. It's always been around, just sitting in a drawer, really.
So what exactly is it?
It's a boatswain's whistle, or a boatswain's, as the correct pronunciation is, or a boatswain as we know it. But basically it goes back to the golden age of the Navy. You've got the wind in the sails, you've got the sea squalling, you've got the cannonballs roaring. You'd need to be able to communicate. So what he would do would be to send a signal, a coded message, which told the rest of the crew to do it. So it was a form of Morse code, like before walkie-talkies and things like that.
So what sort of, how old is that?
This is very old indeed. I mean, you've got the anchor there and the crown. I'd say this was early 19th century, sort of 1800, 1820. Could have been used at Trafalgar, who knows? Real bit of history there.
Yeah. How much do you reckon?
Well, this design hasn't really changed since the 13th century, so basically they make them still the same today. Nowadays they're not used as much, but for people who are sea cadets or sea scouts, they all get trained, items like this. And of course very collectible, that, you know, if you ever get told to pipe down, that's where it comes from, pipe down. Tells you to actually do something. There you go.
I love it.
Lots of nautical terms like that, you see.
That's good.
But very, very collectible indeed. Early 19th century, you've got the naval history here, you've got the whistles. And if I said at least 30 to 50 pounds, I mean, how does that sound?
Very good.
All right.
I thought,
yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
the code to say one whistle ain't going to get you to Cuba. So
Okay, come on.
let's go. It looks like this could be an enjoyable and profitable search. Going through old papers in the bedroom, I find this stamp collection, which belonged to Linda's husband. He collected them as a small boy, just as many people still do throughout the world. The very first postage stamps were introduced in the UK in 1840, and Paul thinks this collection could fetch upwards of £100 at auction. A good find, but we're still a long way off sending Linda to Cuba.
Paul, what do you reckon to these?
Oh, wow, look at those. Those are amazing. Now then, where are these come from?
These were found at my mother-in-law's house.
Really?
Yeah, in a little cupboard next to the fireplace, absolutely blackened with soot.
Wow, so they've never been used. They're actually black. You couldn't see any of this beautiful colour at all.
They were completely black.
Just goes to show, isn't it wonderful? I mean, these are glazed porcelain, so of course none of the black would have got underneath the glaze, so they're almost like new, aren't they? Well, do you know, these are absolutely fabulous. These are French Rococo style, and they're actually wall sconces, and you would actually mount these on the wall, and then these at one point have been made for either electricity or for gas, so it would have been plumbed into the mains. You can see there's a hole there, and of course your cables would run either side here, so you could actually use these today. Wouldn't that be fantastic? But they're actually made in Germany. I mean, these pastel colours are typical of a firm called Sitzendorf. Have you heard of them?
No, I haven't, no.
Well, they were inspired by the Dresden factories, you know, these wonderful German hard-paste porcelain, very bright pastel colours, lots of bocage, rococo, floral decoration. You know, they're absolutely fantastic. So value-wise, what you've got is a pair of 19th century Sitzendorf hard-paste porcelain wall sconces. That's the catalogue, I can hear it already. And if I said at least 200 upwards, how does that sound?
I think it sounds brilliant. Great.
Fantastic. Right, okay, they can go. Let's make sure that we get them there in one piece.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Right, come on then, follow me. Let's go and sort that out. Brilliant.
Paul's expertise is certainly being tested today. There's plenty here for him to get his teeth into. Tucked away in a corner, he finds this painting by Arthur Haddy. He was the chief engineer for the Decca record company where Linda's father worked. Haddy spent his retirement painting, and Paul has valued this example at £60 to £100.